I told you guys that. And I sent it through Remind 101. Alright guys, so as you guys know, we have been talking about the Pythagorean Theorem. Yesterday's goal was for y'all to figure out how that worked out. And so the Pythagorean Theorem is, so this is the actual formula for it, a squared, so remember that square, plus b squared, the other square, and guess what's going to come next?
C squared.
Good. What about c squared? What does it have to do? What do a and b have to give us?
Equal.
They have to equal to, yeah. If we square, get the square of that one side plus the square of the other side, it's going to give us the square of the third side. Okay? Now, A and B, what part of the right triangle do they have to be?
Legs.
The legs, because they have to be the two smaller sides. Okay? Because they have to be the two smaller squares. Okay? Remember, legs are the two shorter sides. And where do these two shorter sides meet at? Not the hypotenuse. They meet at that right angle. Very good. Okay, so the legs meet at the right angle. And then if those two are the legs, then C is the longest side, which we call the hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. It's funny because, okay.
So this is the longest side. And let's draw a picture on here so we can remember which ones are the legs, which one's the hypotenuse, okay? So I'm just going to come over here and we're going to draw a right triangle. Do y'all want me to do a different right triangle than the one I've done every other time? Or what do y'all want to do? The same one? Are y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes they're not going to look exactly like this. Because we can turn this however we want to, and it's still, the legs are always going to meet where?
The right angle.
The right angle, okay? Bo, question?
In the examples and practices,
Okay, we're not there yet, okay?
a triangle always has to equal 90 degrees. Okay.
We're not there yet, though. Okay? All right, so guys, this side right here and this side right here, they meet at the right angle. So this is going to be a leg and a leg. Does this one have to be A and this one have to be B? What do y'all think? Or does this one need to be B, this one need to be A? It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay? So it doesn't matter as long as one of the legs you call A and the other leg you call B. As long as they're legs, it does not matter. This one can be B, this one can be A. All right, now this third side, though, is across from that right angle, so it's the what? Hypotenuse, and it has to, no exceptions, has to be which letter? C. It has to be C. It cannot be A, it cannot be B. Okay, because we can't take the big square and add it to the small square and get a medium square. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, think back to that water video. The small square plus the medium square gives us the big square. Okay, we got our pictures down so we can come back and reference this if we ever need to. Okay. All right. So the Pythagorean theorem states that if I add the areas of the squares that could be drawn off the legs, so that's the two smaller squares. Guys, remember area? How do we find the area of a square? We multiply. What do we multiply? The length and the width. And what do we know about the length and the width of a square? They're equal. Yeah, they're equal. And so if we have the length and the width of a square, let's say one side is 4, that 4 is going to have to multiply a 4 to find the area. That's why we can say 4 squared to the second power. That's how we get our area of a square. Okay? So if we add the areas of the squares from the legs, a right triangle will equal, it will equal the area of the square that can be drawn off the hypotenuse. So again, a small plus a small gives us the big. And that's what that video just a second showed us. Okay? So example 1, we want to find the hypotenuse. Okay? So we're missing this measure right here. Okay? So let's always start with our formula. What's our Pythagorean theorem formula? So we're always going to start with that. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. because I want to know what I'm having to use to find this. Okay? After I write down my formula, I want to label my sides. Okay? Which one's going to be A? Okay? 20 can be A. Why can 20 be A? Because it's a leg. That's exactly right. It's a leg. It's meeting here at the right angle. And what's the other leg going to be? B, which is which measure?
21.
The 21. So this one's going to be B. Could I have flip-flopped A and B?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. But which one has to be C? The X. Because this one's across from the right angle. We're finding, it tells us the hypotenuse, and the hypotenuse is always C. Okay? And now, guys, all we're doing at this point is we're going to use the substitution rule. We're going to plug in these numbers. What am I going to put in place of A? 20. So I'm going to do 20. And we have to follow the formula, so I've got to do 20 squared. Because we're finding the area of the square off of this side. Okay? Then it says plus, so I'm going to write my plus sign. Well, what did we decide is going to be B? 21. So I'm just going to plug in 21. I'm following my formula. It has to be squared. Next in our formula comes equals. Well, what's C? X. Okay? So we can plug in X. If y'all want to leave it as C, you can do that as well. Okay? But we don't know what it is either way. And it has to be equal to X squared. Okay? So y'all, I told y'all equations are never going to go away. Guess what this is? An equation. We have to solve for X. Okay? So let's just take this again, a step at a time. 20 squared. How can I find what 20 squared is? On your calculator. Okay? So that's what we've been working with. So 20, and we can just press the square button, or you can do 20 times 20, and that's going to be 400. So the area of the square off of this side is going to be 400. Okay, then plus comes next. 21 squared. So again, 21. Make sure y'all know how to do this. Squared button on our calculator. Remember, it's this button right here, the X squared button right here. Okay, oh, don't need that. Okay, so 21 squared gives us 441. And that's going to be equal to, well, can I square X in my calculator? No, because I don't know what it is. So equals to X squared. All right, these are like terms, so can't we put them together? Very good, 841. So 400 plus 441 is 841, and that's going to be equal to X squared. Now here is the hardest part of this whole entire thing. I don't want to know what X squared is. I want to know what X is. How do we unsquare things? No. Who said it? Square roots. Very good. We don't want X squared. We want just plain X. We want to know what X is equal to. Not X squared is equal to. Because C is not the square. C is just this length here. So we've got to unsquare it. And we can take the square roots, okay? So over here, let's write some instructions. To take the square root. Do y'all remember what the square root symbol looks like?
Yeah.
What? I love y'all drawing it right now. Y'all, it's like a little house, right? With a little check mark out front.
Yeah.
Okay? So to take the square root, so it's this right here, this symbol right here. That's a square root symbol. In your calculator, you are going to press the second button. Then you're going to press the X squared button, because do y'all see over above that X squared is the little house, right? I call it a house. Are y'all okay with that? Okay. And then you type in your number. Yes, ma'am.
What about the one above this period?
That's going to be, so do you see the X there? We can use that for cubed roots or fourth roots and things like that. We're not going to do that. We just want to take the square root. Okay, in those calculators, let's see. your square root button, you'll have an actual square root button. So in these calculators right here, you'll type in the number and then press this one here. Okay. All right. So what we can do is I'm going to press second, and then I'm going to press the x squared button, and it gives me the house. It gives me that square root symbol. And what am I wanting to take the square root of? Okay, we want to find it of x, but x squared is equal to this. So we want to find the square root of 841. We're taking the square root of both sides. You remember how we add to both sides, subtract from both sides? Here we're having to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of x squared is just x, and the square root of 841 is 29. Okay? So this is the step that is really just new to us, but I promise y'all are going to get it because we're going to do it over and over and over again.
That's fine.
So what's the length of the hypotenuse? 29 feet. 29 feet is the length of our hypotenuse. Okay? Sound good? All right, do you guys want to practice the next one on your own? Y'all got this? Okay, go ahead and do that. Y'all go ahead and try.
I've already done it.
You already done it?
Yeah. So, good luck, everybody. See you at the finish line. What is this, a big number?
The square root's a big number?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeffrey, can you tell me which side you labeled as A? 10. So therefore, which letter was, or which side? Hang on. Why is this not? I wrote on my paper. Oh, sorry. I froze my screen. Okay. I'm sorry. What? The third step? Okay, well, hang on. We'll get there, okay? So you used 10 as A. So what did you use as B? 6. And then C was X. All right, and what did I tell you guys to write down first? Good. The formula, A squared plus B squared is equal to C squared. I want to see this every time until you dream about it because you've written it down so many times in my classroom, okay? Seriously. It's a beautiful thing to have memorized and dream about, I promise. All right. Well, since he said he labeled A as 10, what am I going to plug in place of A? 10. 10 squared. How many of you guys did 6 squared here? That's fine. All right. Plus, what did he say was B? 6. So 6 squared is equal to, I don't know C, so again, y'all can leave that as C squared if you want to, or you can do X squared. Either way, I'm fine with.
All right, I did it.
Okay. So after this, we've got to square our numbers. What is 10 squared? 100. Plus what's 6 squared? 36 is equal to X squared. Now what do I need to do? Combine them. 100 plus 36 is 136 is equal to X squared. Now again, I don't care what X squared is because C is equal to X. I want to know what a regular plane X is. And in order to get a plane regular X, we have to take the square root. Remember, to take the square root in our calculator, we press the second button and then the X squared button. And we want to find the square root of this number. So 136. Okay, was this your question? Okay, and the square root of 136, and y'all kind of freaked out. Y'all looked at me like, yeah, it happens, y'all. Okay, does it look like there's a number repeating here? No. So we can round it. I want you guys to round to the tens place, so 1 decimal place. So 11 point what? 7 if we round it. 11.7 if we round it, and it's going to be 11.7 meters. 11.7 meters, because we are talking about a distance here, okay? All right. Any questions on how I got this? I saw lots of good answers on your papers. Okay, awesome. Okay, example 2 is a little bit different, okay? So with example 1 in the practice problem, we were finding the hypotenuse. So we were finding letter C. Here on example 2, we are finding either A or B because we're having to find a leg, okay? So find the missing length, round your answers to the nearest tenth. All right? So what do you want to label x as, A or B?
B.
B. Okay, doesn't matter. And if that's B, then 30 has to be A, and 40 has to be C. And why does 40 have to be C? Perfect. It's across from the right angle, and it's the hypotenuse, okay? I heard two really good explanations. Yep.
Why do you have to draw an arrow?
You don't have to draw arrow. I'm just trying to help you guys see that it's across from the hypotenuse, right angle. So, good question. Okay? All right, so what am I going to start with?
A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
See, even I'm writing it down again. I'm going to write this down so many times today, y'all don't even know. All right, what have we decided we're going to plug in for A?
30
30 squared
plus
I don't know what B is, so I can plug in B squared or just plug in X squared is equal to, well, this time I know C, so in place of C, I'm going to put 40 squared. Okay, this one's different. Do y'all see that? Okay. Our next step is exactly the same as before. We just need to square these numbers. 30 squared. What is 30 squared?
900.
Can I do X squared? No. So it stays X squared. That doesn't change. And what's 40 squared?
Oh, 40 squared? That is,
1,600.
oh, that's quite a number. Yeah, 1,600.
Very good, guys. So we're okay with squaring things in our calculator? We know how to do that? Nigel, do you have a calculator?
What? Hold on. I'm confused.
What?
So, would we square the 900?
No, we already squared the 30. We only have to square things once. Okay. Now, this is our new step. This is the weird step.
Oh.
We're solving an equation. So what's the whole goal of solving an equation?
Find it.
To get the answer. And how do we get the answer?
Find X.
By solving for x, by getting x by itself. What's over here with this x now?
A squared. Oh,
A squared and
900.
a 900. Okay, we've got to get x by itself. How do I get x by itself? How do I get rid of this 900?
Subtract.
Subtract. Very good. So whenever we're finding a leg, we are always going to have to subtract. So we have to subtract 900 from both sides to get rid of it. Again, equations are never going away, y'all. Okay, 900 minus 900, that goes away. So we are left with x squared is equal to 700. Okay. Do I have x by itself?
No.
Almost. It's squared still. I just want a plain, regular x. And how do I do that? You do not divide.
Oh,
You take the square root. So the square root. We are not dividing. We're going to take the square root.
What's the square root of X?
Square root of x squared is x. The square root of 700 is what?
Oof.
Make sure you guys can take the square root, okay?
15.
The square root is oof.
Okay, I'm hearing some good answers. Everybody practice this step. Make sure y'all can do it.
I can't do it in this case.
You can. Type in 700, and then there's a square root button right here. No, you just have to press the button.
Wow.
26 point what?
45.
Yes, second, x squared, and then you type in the number 700.
26.4575.
Okay, to the nearest tenth, so one decimal place, so 26.5. And that's 26.5 what? Feet.
Oh,
Okay, because again, we are talking about a length of a side of a triangle, so we're talking about a measurement, okay? Would you open the door for me, please? Thank you.
3 minutes.
Okay? All right, so what I want you guys to do, I know we're leaving at a weird time today. Okay, so this is your homework tonight, so I want to make sure y'all know what y'all are doing. All you guys are having to do is you're going to have to calculate the Pythagorean Theorem, and then these are your missing sides, okay? So you should use each of them once, okay? So you're using the Pythagorean Theorem here, here, and you're finding the missing side, which will be right over here, okay? Yes?
You better give it back.
just remind me.
Okay, so Miss Cornett, that was